you guys don't know Daniel grew up in Miami for how many years?
Almost now half my life. It was 10 years. I moved to Jacksonville when I was 10 years old. So,
And I moved from New Jersey to here when I was 10. Okay.
yeah.
How is life like in Miami growing up there?
Yeah, I definitely I have a lot of my childhood memories in Miami. It's very different from I didn't grow up in like a bad neighborhood by any means, but in
Right.
Miami in general, like you have to be really careful as a kid because like if you wander too far from home, like you'll run into like weird strangers. And it's just
Yeah.
like a big city. So
Uh-huh.
when I was a kid, I didn't really leave like my like it, I like
Your
I
bubble.
didn't leave my house much in general,
Okay.
but it was weird because like in Miami, like you would see strangers and you'd like try to ignore them as much as possible.
Yeah.
But I remember moving to PV. One of the first things I noticed two things when I moved here. One is the lack of diversity. I was like stunned by like how many white people because like I'm white, but at my elementary school, I was like in my like graduating class, it was like mostly Hispanic, and then it was like me and like five other white kids, and
Yeah.
then I came to PV and like it was the opposite. Like
Yeah.
everyone in my class was white.
All right, so
Um,
hold on. For when he references PV, it's a town that we're both from. It's called Ponte Vedra. So
right,
when he
the
says
suburb of Jacksonville.
yeah, so when he says PV, he means Ponte Vedra, which is
Right.
where he went to high school. But sorry, continue.
I know. Yeah, that makes sense. And the second thing I noticed was how friendly everyone was here. Because in Miami, like you drive past people, they ignore you. Like
Yeah.
it's just not like a thing.
Yeah.
But we came here and we'd be driving around and like I was like, why is everyone waving at us? Like I don't know this guy. Like, do we know him? Like, why is he saying
We have a
hi?
history. Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
But
Yeah.
everyone here was like so friendly and it caught me off guard. And then like when we were in middle school, I would like bike around the neighborhood and like go hang out with friends
Uh-huh.
and like, go fishing, which is not something I could have done in Miami. Like
Yeah.
in Miami, like if I went like more than a few blocks from home, I had to tell my mom exactly where I was going and like when I would be back. But like in PV in Jacksonville,
You can go a couple miles
it was
anywhere.
so much safer that like my mom was just like, just be home before dark, basically.
Wow. That's nice.
So it was definitely like a switch of like when I was a kid, my best friends were like my brothers because I didn't leave the house that much. Whereas when I came here, it was more people that I met from school because I could actually leave my house and like hang out with friends
Right.
without my mom taking me there.
Yeah. Or having to worry about some random dude scooping you up and
Right. And you know what's actually funny?
oh
I
no.
found out about this later. So my house was like on the corner, kind of like your guys' house.
Uh-huh.
And I found out that the guy who like lives across from me,
In
like two
Miami.
houses down in Miami, was
Uh-huh.
a sex offender. He was like a registered sex offender on the sex offender. And I remember my mom telling me when I was a kid, like, don't go near that house. And I asked her like years later, I was like, why, like, what was it about? Like, was the house haunted? Like, why? Like, no, there was a sex offender there. Like, I didn't want you near that
Oh.
guy.
You
Yeah.
just found about this like
Like recently, like 2 years ago, my mom told me this. And this is like, I'm out of Miami like 10 years. My mom's like
wow.
just not telling me.
We are glad that you did not get dealt with.
Definitely glad I didn't get abducted.
Oh my God. Currently, Daniel, as you guys know, attends Florida State University, but before he attended UNF or the University of North Florida. And he was kind of going into that a little bit in the beginning. But Daniel, how is the college life of FSU and UNF different? Like, can you differentiate the two?
So it's a little hard for me because when I transferred to Florida State, we were like in the mid swing of COVID, so I didn't really go out. All my classes were online,
Mhm.
but I still walk around campus a lot, and like I know people here.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing for me was at UNF, I would leave my dorm and I would walk to class, and every time I would leave my dorm, I would see someone I knew because it was a small school.
Okay.
Like I would be on my way to class, I would see like Chris, I would see like this guy Jamal. Like I would see like every time I left my apartment, I would see someone that I knew.
See somebody from either high school or somebody that you knew from your
Or like,
neighborhood.
yeah, right. Someone I like that I play basketball with. But
Okay.
when I'm at Florida State, I'm walking around campus and I have my headphones on and like everyone just kind of minds their own business because it's a much bigger school.
Hmm.
And even though I like Florida State, there is something about UNF that was nice where it felt, even though like we didn't like I didn't have a lot of school spirit, there was like a community there because
There's a
like you
level.
would see
it was a level of comfort.
Right. It was
Yeah.
like you would see all the same people, and like your classes were a lot smaller.
Yeah.
And like the people that I would play basketball with are the same people every time. Versus like Florida State, like I've played basketball a couple times, and like usually it's different people every time.
Yeah.
So there's a certain extent to which going to a smaller school was kind of nice because there was like a sense of community, which is
Yeah.
Florida State is like it's all about like the school instead of like the
Yeah.
people that go there, if that kind of makes sense.
No, I get what you're saying. What made you, so this next question, what made you want to transfer?
So I liked UNF. I like because I had like a nice rhythm. I hooped at UNF every day because there wasn't really that much to do. So
Right.
I would at UNF I would like go to class, eat, come home, and then I would just or go back to my dorm, and then I would just play basketball from like 3 to like 11. I would just like shoot around, and I
Oh,
did this like every day, and it was honestly pretty nice
yeah.
because like I met a lot of people through that and like made a lot of friends and like I liked basketball, so that was nice. UNF is not the best school in Florida. It's not that high ranked, and the psychology program wasn't that great.
Okay.
And I kind of wanted to be a little further away from home, just because like I wanted to be able to like I felt like staying in Jacksonville was kind of limiting me like as a person because I feel like part of college is like you should like get away from home and like meet new people
Oh,
and
yeah,
like
for sure.
expand as a person. That's like part of college, and I felt like that was kind of limiting when I was in Jacksonville.
Right.
So I decided that I wanted to go to a top three school. So I was between UF and Florida State. And the UF admissions I missed. I like missed the application. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna send it to Florida State and I'm gonna send it to UF. And if I get accepted to Florida State, then I'm just gonna go there. And I got accepted. So
Mm.
I went to Florida State because the psychology program is good. And the reason that it was because UF is a better school, but Florida
Right.
State has a sports psychology program, which is what I wanted to
Mm.
do. So I was like, listen, if I'm going to get my PhD, I
Right.
might as well go to Florida State for my undergrad and then just go get my PhD like at the same school.
Yeah. Okay.
So I decided that I was going to transfer here. I applied, I got in, and then I just to Tallahassee, and now I'm back on the grind.
I 100% agree with you with getting out and getting away from the comfort level of a university that is near your home and near your parents and getting out and meeting new people. Let's start this sports talk with your predictions. I like to do this for anybody that watches sports, especially you. I know you're big into sports.
Oh, yeah.
Daniel, tell me, who do you have? It is currently April 8th. Who do we have winning? Who do we have winning the NBA Finals
Okay, so I think that's a good question. If I had to pick a winner,
right now?
if I was a betting man, which I'm not, I would be putting my money on the Lakers. And even though I think the Lakers are in a bit of a slump right now, they're the favorites for the finals. They were at the beginning of the year, and I think it's for good reason because there's a few reasons. One, I don't think you can ever count LeBron out. Even though he's 35, he's still LeBron James.
Amen.
Two, I think what makes the Lakers special, and I don't think people realize this because it's kind of hard to watch for when you're actually like watching a game, but their defense is really impressive. When they have LeBron and AD on the floor, they've got like Dennis Schroeder, Anthony Davis, even like Marc Gasol, LeBron, like
Montrezl Harrell.
exactly. Every player on that team can play defense.
Oh yeah.
And if you look at a lot of other teams, like if you look at like the Nuggets or the Nets or even like the Sixers, they don't have that. Like they don't have every player on their team playing defense at an elite level, which the Lakers have.
Yeah.
So ultimately, I trust them to score because they have AD, they have Dennis Schroeder, they got LeBron. But more than anything, I trust their defense. And I think in a 7-game series, I would rather have a strong defense than a powerful offense. So that's why I'm taking the Lakers in 7.
Lakers in 7 against who?
So their opponent, I think, is a little trickier. I have the Nets.
East.
I have the Nets only because I think Katie in the playoffs is a different animal. I think Harden is going to slip into like a point guard role because when he was point guard, he's led the league in assists. He knows how to facilitate, and he can shoot, so he can play off ball.
Yeah.
And if Katie's off, if Harden's off, like their third option is Kyrie Irving. So
yeah.
And then they picked up Aldridge. Blake Griffin's looking like he could be a six man. Nick Claxton, I think people are sleeping on him. He's not like an all-star by any means, but he's improving like every game.
The young buck. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think if he like I could see his ceiling being like even like Jarrett Allen maybe. I think he could be that he could be at that level soon.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying in the next year, I could see him like
okay. Yeah.
being on the same level as Jarrett Allen because he's younger. But I think I would take the Nets. The Sixers are really mean though. I think if Embiid's healthy, Ben Simmons is a lockdown defender and he can cover like the 1 through 4.
Yeah.
So if you put him on their best player, I could see him. I don't think you can lock down KD, but he could seriously slow him down.
Oh yeah.
The only thing is I don't think they have an answer for Harden or Kyrie, and they really have to count on their 2 stars because I think if Joel's cold, I don't think Ben Simmons can lead an offense.
No, but the thing with the Sixers is they're so deep. Like they have Tobias Harris. I think they have Seth Curry off the bench. I'm not sure about that one, but they have Seth
starting
Curry.
Right now he's starting, but you could switch him out into the bench.
And then you got Josh Richardson, and you got. I mean, they're deep, and they got some people coming off the bench that kind of do the same thing as a starting 5. They're just not as talented as their starting 5.
Yeah, they are a deep team, and they're much deeper than the Nets. But like I said, I mean, maybe I'm off base. Maybe Tobias Harris is better than I am giving him credit for, and maybe Ben Simmons in the playoffs will heat up on offense. But since Embiid's been out, I just don't like the way they've been playing. I don't think Ben Simmons can lead an offense. And if Embiid's cold, I just don't see them beating the Nets.
Yeah. And see, the thing with all those teams, so even if you have the Nets and the Lakers, both of them are both very injury prone. Yeah. All those superstars. Even LeBron now. Even LeBron with his
he's 35.
Yeah. I guess we can give him a break.
Right.
Finally. But even Anthony Davis, like
homie hasn't played all year. Believe me, I have him on fantasy. I know.
He's been
out all year.
Yeah, but I just always think with the Lakers, I feel like without AD and without LeBron, they would not make. They'd probably be like
they get bounced.
They'd get 14, 15 seed in the West.
Yeah, I agree definitely. But I mean, if they have them healthy, and it's not just have them playing, because. I mean, we saw the Heat when Bam was in, Dragic was in, but they weren't healthy, and you could tell in that final series.
Yeah.
So I think there's a difference between having a player healthy and actually having them like full strength for the playoffs.
Well, I'll say I think any player besides somebody that like never sees the floor by the end of the finals or midway through the finals, they're crippled. Like they can't walk.
Yeah,
they're so hurt.
There was a clip of Jimmy Butler when he was limping off the.
Oh yeah, looked like he was like a 70-year-old with arthritis. Yeah, he was. Any player that plays serious minutes in the playoffs, they're banged up and they're bruised up, like they can't walk.
I'm predicting Lakers Nets, and I could see the Sixers, but I'm committing to Nets. I'm not going to stay on the fence. So I'm going to say Lakers Nets, and I think I'm going to take the Lakers in 6. I think they're going to get it in 6.
Now, who do we have MVP?
MVP's tough. I would have taken Embiid, but he's been out for a few weeks. I think he could still crawl his way into it if he really, really performs well. But I think LeBron was the favorite until he got injured, so he's out of it now.
Yeah.
I still think Embiid could be the favorite, but I think I might give it to my man Harden. James Harden. I think he's climbing up the ranks in MVP voting. For the power rankings. His facilitating is, I don't know if I could say it's underrated, but if you watch the game, the way that he can like pull players on offense, and he has like elite court vision. He is obviously an amazing shooter. And his defense is not the best, but it's gotten better to the point that he's not like a liability. Like if
right.
Early in his career, people would target him on switches and they would look for that matchup, and that's just not the case anymore because he's like capable.
Yeah.
So I think if he can, when KD comes back, which he is back now, it's a matter of if KD is going to take touches away from Harden, because obviously KD is going to demand respect. He's going to get shots. But if Harden can shift in that offense and still manage to like get buckets
At his own. Yeah.
Exactly. Then I could see him taking MVP. But the only thing is with KD back, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to combat that offense with the best scorer in the NBA. So
yeah, I think Steve Nash he'll figure it. I can't believe Steve Nash. Like, that's so weird saying that he's a coach.
I know.
Steve Nash.
I mean, he was just a player. Like what?
Oh yeah.
6 or 7 years ago, something like that.
He last played in 2014, so we're in 2021, so that was a good 7
years ago.
Wow, damn. 2014 seems like freaking last night.
Exactly.
But Jokic is the lead getter for MVP. He's balling.
My only beef with Jokic, I think Jokic is probably his talent. Okay, well, I don't know Jokic, but
I got beef with Jokic.
But my only thing with him being the favorite for MVP is the Nuggets are not. I mean, they're playing better now than they were at the beginning of the year.
Mm-hmm.
But I think to be an MVP candidate, your team's got to be a top 2 seed, because to be a most valuable player, you have to be like valuable to your team's winning. So I think if you're the MVP, you got to be the most valuable player to your team's success. And ultimately,
you don't think that?
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, because I see where you're getting at, because the Nuggets are very stacked. They low-key have a big 3. They got Jamal Murray, they got Jokic, and they got
now they have Aaron Gordon.
Yeah, so I mean, what the Nuggets aren't they the number? Well, the Jazz are the number 1.
I give them. They're the 4 seed.
Okay, so
I think if they can climb their way up to 2 or maybe even 3, I think Jokic can get it. But I don't think you can have a 4 seed. Like,
I mean, Westbrook got it a couple of years ago, and he was a 5 seed.
Yeah, but Westbrook was
triple. Like, okay, all right. Westbrook.
Right.
Yeah,
that was a triple double. He was averaging a triple double for the first time since Oscar Robertson, and I still don't think people realize how crazy that is, that he's still doing it. He's averaging a triple double this year, and like I feel like no one's like, I didn't even know that. I didn't even know he wasn't even an all-star.
I know.
And like he's averaging a triple double. Like I could not fathom that.
And he's
heard about it until like
he's like 33, 32 now. And he's still.
So, people are definitely taking for granted how good he is still.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually made a TikTok on that.
Oh yeah, go follow your boy on TikTok.
GoykD, GOYKD is my TikTok. Definitely follow that.
Who you got? This is a good one. Who you got Rookie of the Year?
That's a good question. With LaMelo Ball, it definitely easily would have been LaMelo Ball. My pick at the beginning of the year was Wiseman, but he's been on and off the court and the Warriors are terrible, and he's not helping. Yeah. So right now, I think you got to give it to Anthony Edwards, because in the second half of the year, homie's been balling out. He was okay in the first half. He wasn't great, but in the second half, like, dude's looking like he's like league ready. Like the way he's been playing, he's already looking like he could be the best player on a court for like a good team.
Yeah, he looks like he's bet.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a good reason he was the first overall pick.
Yeah.
Like the thing with Anthony Edwards that I don't think people realized, and this was at the beginning of the year too, people were like, "Oh, he was a bust. Like LaMelo Ball's better." Anthony Edwards was recruited as a football player coming out of high school, and he was gonna play football in college. But Georgia came to him with like a full ride for basketball. He ended up going for basketball and like
football. I never heard of this. He was straight basketball.
Running back. He was a running back coming out of high school.
Damn, 6.
And I mean, he was a good. Don't get me wrong. He was a great basketball prospect. But the reason that he was like so like people were like kind of looking at him was because his athleticism is insane. Like dude is fast. He's big. Like he's already has an NBA build. He's got bunnies. Like we saw that dunk
Yeah.
Like halfway through the season, that was like dunk of the century.
Yeah.
And he's a raw, like pure, talented athlete.
Yeah.
And
Oh, most definitely.
so
I,
there are some corners that you need to smooth out, but he has the potential to be like a really, really good NBA player.
I totally agree with that. And every time, even his game, or hold on, his game and the way he talks, like if you see him in interviews, I
Yeah.
just I'm just like, how can you not compare this guy to Michael Jordan?
Yeah, literally.
His swagger, his like
He
his
does
slang in his voice, like is definitely Mike. You can definitely hear him.
he's got that confidence.
Yeah, and that's what I love
Like
about him.
he has this certain air to him that all great players have, and all like Russell Westbrook's got this, LeBron, Kobe, Jordan, they all have this air to them, both on and off the court, that they just know that they're good.
Yeah, you
Like
don't gotta
they
tell me.
don't have any second doubts. They're not like when they step on the court, they have this look in their eye that they think they're the best player on the court, whether it's true or not. They think they're the best player on the floor at all times, and Edwards definitely has that.
I think that's anybody in the NBA, whether they get minutes or not. But you have to. If you don't think that, then
You gotta have that dog mentality.
yeah, or else you're just gonna not see the floor, or
Yeah,
the critics are gonna eat at you if you don't think that you're the best.
yeah. That's that. I mean, most definitely. Like if you're in the NBA, you're there for a reason. Like people don't realize that even if you're a bench warmer in the NBA, you're better than like 99% of the population.
And you still get money.
Exactly. Yeah, you get like $1 million
I
for like
know.
riding the bench.
Yeah, for watching NBA games firsthand.
Literally getting courtside seats to like watch NBA games.
So we just finished up with March Madness. Pretty crazy tournament this year.
That was crazy. Right up until the end.
I think just Baylor just like came into this tournament and was like, yo, let's take care of business. I'm here, get out. Tired of this like quarantine bubble, college bubble. Let's get our ring and get out of here.
I listen to a lot of NBA podcasts, like too many, way too many.
Yeah.
And there's this one called Ringer NBA University. And if you don't listen to it, I think you should. It talks a lot about like young players coming in the NBA and young players already in the NBA. But one of the things they talked about was like up and coming players and players whose draft stock is shot up. And Mitchell, that dude on Baylor, went from
Mitchell.
like, yeah, Davy Mitchell went from someone who like people had their eye on to like could be like a lottery pick. Like if you watch that dude play, he is mean, bro. He's good on offense. He's shifty on defense. He's got a good shot, explodes to the rim.
I don't know. I'm gonna just call him as Donovan Mitchell's younger brother. Like
I'm sure he gets that comparison though.
No, but it's so similar. I'm like, yo, that is definitely. I was like, who's this Mitchell? I was like, since when did I didn't know Donovan Mitchell like downgraded? Like,
Yeah.
and they both wear. I thought I was like, is this the Jazz playing? And then freaking, I think Jalen Suggs. I think he could be the number one overall pick.
Oh my god! All right, chill out. I was looking at some other mock drafts and like some draft boards, and I wasn't doing like I was doing a draft board. So I was saying like who I think the top 3 players in this draft are.
Right.
And most people had Jalen Green third.
Oh my god, I totally forgot about him.
Yeah, like he's in the G League right now. He's balling out. I think he's the 4th best. But this was before March Madness. I had Jalen Suggs 3. And the reason that I have Jalen Suggs 3 is because if you watch the Gonzaga games, and just so I can get it out there, my top 3 are Cade Cunningham, Evan Mobley, and Jalen Suggs. I had him a little higher than most people. And the reason that I do is because if you watch him play on Gonzaga, you can tell that the other players on that team look to him. He runs the ball on offense like an elite point guard. He's got a admittedly inconsistent shot. He's on or he's off, but usually he's pretty good about it.
I mean, it doesn't look bad.
It doesn't. Yeah. Which is a good sign because consistency is something that you build upon. So I think ultimately his mentality and his talent and his athletic ability, and here's more than anything is his defense, because defense is hard to teach players. The ability to read and react on defense and jump past lanes, like press on ball, have positioning in the post. Suggs does that already at an NBA level.
Mm-hmm.
And to teach that to a player is really difficult. But for him to come into the NBA with that knowledge is something that is very rare, I think, for an NBA prospect. So
Yeah.
him coming into the NBA, I think he is already going to be a really good player. And he has the potential, I think, to be like a 10 times All-Star. Like, I think Suggs has the potential to be a generational talent. But the two players ahead of, I think this is one of the, we're going to look back on this draft and say, like, I can't believe this draft had Cunningham, Mobley, and
Yeah.
Suggs. I think that's how we're going to look back. I think we're going to look back on this draft like we look back on the 2003 LeBron, D Wade, Melo, Bosh draft.
Damn.
And that's high praise. But I really do think that there are a lot of players in this draft who have the potential to become really, really good NBA prospects.
I agree.
Suggs, he did play quarterback, and you can tell. If you watch Suggs play, he reads the court like he's a quarterback. Like, he can read an offense perfectly. Like, he knows where all his players are at all times. When he's on defense, he's reading it like he's a quarterback reading an NFL defense. Like, he's looking, he's able to read like offenses and know where to stand to make the passing lanes as tight as possible.
Right.
So you can tell that he played quarterback in high school. Like, he reads the floor like a former quarterback.
Yeah.
But to say it to like, I do think Suggs is going to be that good. But I think Mobley is more of a raw talent, where it's like Mobley has like I can almost compare him to Anthony Davis, where it's like he reads well on defense. And my draft board, I have more comparisons on him, but he can read on defense really well. He's a block machine. He's long. And even though right now he's skinny, there's been a million players who were skinny and then went to the NBA and bulked up immediately.
Yeah.
So I'm not too worried about his weight.
Yeah.
But what I think really makes him special is he can bring the ball up like a point guard. Like, he's crafty with the ball in his hands. His post moves need a little bit of work, but that's something you can learn in the NBA. He's like crafty around the rim. His mid-range jumper is really good already, and players that come into the NBA with a good mid-range are usually able to expand that to the three. So I think him being able to shoot mid-rangers is promising for being able to expand that and become like a good stretch big.
Yeah.
So ultimately, I think Mobley has the potential to be an elite, like all NBA level defender. I think he has the potential to grow into a better offensive player. And honestly, like, his floor is like bull, but I think his ceiling could be like Anthony Davis, which is why I think you take him second. Because if you can get Anthony Davis, if there's like a 10% chance you're getting AD, you got to go. Like, you got to go for Evan Mobley.
Yeah.
Which is why I think he's the second best player.
Yeah.
And Cade Cunningham, I have him first because I think he's going to be like a generational talent. Like, I think there's a certain degree to which there's been like for generations, there's been like Jordan, or like even before Jordan, there's Kareem, then there was Magic, then there was Jordan, Kobe, LeBron. And right now we're looking for that next player. LeBron's 35. And I think you could look at Luka, you could look at Zion, and I think soon enough it's going to be, you're looking at Cade Cunningham.
Really?
Because Cade Cunningham, what he brings on offense is a player who, and if you look at interviews, like, there's a basketball breakdown, you can look at him where he talks about his game and like things that he does wrong. Yeah. And you can just tell he is a really, really intelligent dude. Like, the way he plays basketball is he looks like an NFL quarterback reading an offense. Like, he's like, you know, like, I had this shooting guard pull off on me, so I should have known that the power forward was going to rotate baseline, which means I should have fed my man in the post, because the power forward rotating means that, like, stuff that I'm like, how did you even like know that this was going to, and then like they press play and it's exactly what happens. Yeah. And that ability to read that on defense, like read exactly what the player is going to do, you can't teach that.
Mm-hmm. Most
and
definitely.
Not only that, he can go right and left. He's like ambidextrous with passing. He's got a great shot. He can hit shots in big moments, which I don't think is like something that all players can do.
Yeah, and I feel like we didn't see that as much because his supporting cast at Oklahoma State wasn't really.
And Oklahoma State, they did this thing where they would like not feed him the ball. Like, they would like they would try to play like Gonzaga, where like they would like move the ball around and like give it to a lot of players. The problem is Oklahoma State wasn't that good. So like
Yeah.
Cade Cunningham is by far your best player. Like you should be feeding him touches.
Eating the fucking ball. Yeah.
But they didn't. So
Yeah.
ultimately, I think Cade Cunningham could be like he has the potential to be like a generational talent.
Like
And
on
that's
the
I think he's like by far the best player coming out of this draft. He's he's like the lot like how people were talking about Zion a few years ago, saying he's the next LeBron. I think that's Cade Cunningham to me. I think he's like up next.
So so you think he gets right into the league and he's something like he's never everything he's seen everything already.
Yeah, I think he comes into the league and he like already starts performing. Like he's already like NBA ready, and he has the potential to grow into something even better. Like I really do believe in Cade Cunningham. I think he is like this year is a good year to be bad because Cade Cunningham is going to come onto your team and just like he's going to be an immediate spark plug.
Yeah. Wow, that was a deep that was a deep analyst on just one multiple players.
They saw more of Jalen Suggs and they saw him compete at like a high level. But I think the thing that you have to remember is that Gonzaga was a lot more than Suggs. Like that's a franchise who's proven that they can be good. They had a really good, like they had a ton of depth and a great starting five.
Yeah.
Gonzaga was a really, really good team. So Suggs deserves a lot of the credit, but I think people are going to sleep on Mobley and Cunningham just because their teams weren't as good. But I'm confident that come NBA, like when they're in the NBA, I think the top three prospects are Cunningham, Mobley, and Suggs.
I think Jalen Green is going to be more prepared than anybody else, because he's playing in the NBA already.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, he's playing like former NBA players, and honestly, if you watch Jalen Green, I could see him sneaking into that third spot because he's explosive. Like his first step is quick.
Yeah,
he can jump higher than like most people in the NBA already.
I think his only thing is his shooting percentages weren't really that good.
They were okay. I think he shot like 36 from three, which is like
that's better than
it's like above average.
Most rookies.
I think it's pretty much league average actually. But I mean, there's a certain extent to which he's shooting that from an NBA three, because in the G League, like you're already shooting NBA threes, versus in college you're shooting college threes. So that 36% is NBA 36%. Bunnies for days.
Yeah.
The only thing is I'm not quite sure that he's as mentally sharp as some of the top three players that I named, which is like these top three players are like elite level playmaking, like can read the floor flawlessly.
Yeah, I think Jalen Green he just wants to get the ball and score.
Right, exactly.
Wants to
he's not like a facilitator. He's not the kind of player that I think you can give the ball and he makes the people around him better. Like I could almost compare him to like a Russell Westbrook, where it's like he's going to come into the league, be explosive, score the ball, like get stats on stats on stats. But I'm not positive that he can be like that team leader that can like push a team into the playoffs.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. But Jalen Green, he just wants to get the ball, go, get a bucket, post it on Instagram, and then call it a day.
Yeah, exactly. So I got a question for you. I came prepared, bro. I came with some questions.
Oh shit! Here we go. All right.
So I got. Are you a Golden State fan? Are you what team do you follow?
All right, for everybody that's listening, I'm from New Jersey, and they were the New Jersey Nets before they were the Brooklyn Nets, and I know the team now is somewhat decently good, so do not give me shit for being a Brooklyn Nets fan, but I'm a Brooklyn Nets fan, so you could say that.
Okay, so I'm gonna give you 5 players, and I want you to rank these players by how much you would want to just like put them, like plug them into your team, okay?
Like if I'm starting a team, how much?
Right. If you're starting a team and you could just take this player and like throw them on your team, I want you to rank them 1 to 5.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
Tyler Hero, Jamal Murray, LaMelo Ball, Michael Porter Jr., and Patrick Williams.
Jamal Murray, I would want my first pick on my team. I would go Michael Porter Jr.
Okay.
Pat Williams,
Okay, I respect that.
Tyler Hero, LaMelo Ball.
Wow, you're putting LaMelo Ball last.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
bold. That's bold. I
Yeah.
respect it. I respect putting Patrick
No,
Williams.
hold on. I would put LaMelo Ball then Tyler Hero. Let me flip that.
All right, I can still respect that.
Okay.
I would probably my list is going to be different from yours because
Wait, hold on. Let me ask this: what made you ask this type of question, or what?
I was like brainstorming questions, and I was thinking of like young players because I saw your question about Suggs, and I was like, all right, if I had to like build a team and I wanted like a prospect,
Yeah,
like a young player, like who would I want? I think I would probably go LaMelo first. Then I would go Jamal Murray.
okay.
Then I would take MPJ, Patrick Williams, then Tyler Hero. I think LaMelo Ball has the potential to grow into like a multi-time All-Star. Jamal Murray, I'm not as sold.
Really? I think
Jamal Murray is good, but I don't think I would not trust Jamal Murray to lead my team. Is my thing. Like if I would not have him be the best player on a finals team. LaMelo Ball might be able to grow into that. He might be able to grow into being the best player on a finals. I would trust that LaMelo Ball has the most room to improve, which is why I would take him first.
Okay. All right. And then you put Tyler Hero last, and then you put MPJ and then Pat Williams?
Yeah, I think MPJ is limited because he's on the Nuggets, and the Nuggets are such a good team.
Let me tell you this. I'm so glad that the Chicago Bulls picked Pat Williams fourth.
Yeah.
Second, maybe third best player at Florida State.
Yeah.
And then grew into being a not star, but starting 4 for the Bulls and maybe like 6th man, 7th man off the bench.
The one more I don't know how long this has gone, but I got one more question for you. Sitting in the front office of the Golden State Warriors, how worried are you about your team? Because the Warriors are looking pretty bad right now. They're on a little skid. They've lost a couple games. They look pretty bad. And Steph Curry is really the only play. Like people are leaving Draymond Green wide open from 3. I don't know if you've been seeing those highlights, but
no, yeah.
If you're the Warriors, how worried are you right now?
Just maintain and keep Steph as long as you can. Wait until Clay comes back from injury next year, because Clay and Steph, that's all you need.
Yeah, I mean,
people will find them the ball and they'll make it to the finals somehow. Draymond can play center. If they get a forward that can make a layup and shoot a 3, they're golden. Like,
yeah,
they can make it to conference finals and maybe compete in the NBA finals. But I don't know. They just have to. They have like such a good talent in Steph, and players will come because they know Steph. They don't have to guard Steph on a nightly basis. Yeah.
So if you're Steph, and next year y'all get bounced out the playoffs again, like even with Clay healthy, is there a world that Steph leaves?
I don't know because I heard LeBron's recruiting him, so I've been hearing that.
Can you imagine having AD, Bron, and Steph on the same team? The Lakers, the Nets, and the Heat. Like, why have anyone else, bro? At that point,
maybe okay. You're stretching it. No.
Once KZ Okpala turns into like an all-star player, KZ Okpala is up next. He was a second-round draft pick.
Is he on the Heat?
Yes, he was the second. He was. The year that the Heat took Tyler Hero in the second round, we got my man KZ Okpala, and homeboy has been quietly hooping on the bench. I'm telling you, just wait. You're sleeping on him now. 5 years from now, we're going to be looking back on KZ like the next LeBron James, bro.
I think this is our goal that we need to stop talking. I have this bet. I made it about 2 years ago. It's $100 bet saying in 5 years, now 4 years. In 4 years from now, Jason Tatum will win MVP.
Wow.
And I said he most definitely is. He's I go back and forth. I think he's like a Paul Pierce on steroids.
Yeah, I see that.
So
I think Jason.
So if you were to make that $100 bet, would you shake somebody's hand and say, "Yeah, in 5 years, Jason Tatum will definitely have one MVP under his belt"?
For him to win MVP is going to have to unequivocally be the best player on his team. Like, without a doubt,
right
this man is the best player. Jaylen Brown's been hooping. So I think he could. I think he could do it. I don't know if he will. Like, he has that potential, but for him to win MVP, he's got to
what? He's just got to
lead his team to like be the first seed. And the Celtics are dog right now. And he's still like 21. So
yeah, like,
or no, he's 20. I think he's 22. I think he's a year older than Hero. He's not in his peak yet, obviously. Like, he's gonna improve. And I mean, if you look at Giannis when he was 23, like, he was also like a good player, but he didn't look like an MVP. So, in 4 years, I could see Jason Tatum winning an MVP, but it has to go like he can't like he's got to like become that man. And right now, he's not that man. But like I said, like he's got years.
He shows glimpses of it. He shows glimpses of.
He definitely does.
A bad man.
So I would make that bet, but if you did, I'm not going to be mad at you. I think that could win you.
I don't know. Right now, it's a little shaky. Like, my pockets are kind of sweating right now because I don't know. We got 3 more years. I mean, he could flip it around and snag 30 points a game and some rebounds and throw some dots to some people, and he could definitely snag the MVP. That's why I betted on it, because I said that he could be on the scoring level as Kobe Bryant for a couple years. Like, if he has a scoring streak, like where he drops like 32 points a game, he definitely could.
I could see it. I mean, he has shades of being like at that level. I think he could definitely reach that level. Yeah. It's just a matter of if he will. Like, he has the potential, but will he reach it? I don't know.
Yeah, we're gonna have to wait and freaking see. I like to end these podcasts with these just last 2 questions. So it's kind of quick, or you can make these answers long, but where do you see yourself in 5 years?
That's a good question. In 5 years, honestly, I'm not really the kind of person who thinks ahead like that.
Yeah.
I kind of like am like I'm the kind of person where I'm like, okay, like the next like year, like what do I see myself next year? But if I had to think 5 years from now, my plan like immediately is that I'm going to graduate and then get a bachelor or get a graduate degree, whether it's like a PhD or a master's.
Right.
And hopefully by that time I have like an entry-level position working for like ESPN or like an NBA team.
Okay.
Like anything sports media related would be really dope.
You're all for it.
But yeah, so in 5 years, hopefully, or I could be doing research, because right now I'm doing some research for sports psychology. So I'm kind of just like leaving my doors open and like taking whatever opportunities I get.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I hate low-key. I hate this question too. I'm just worrying about what I'm doing after this podcast or what I'm doing tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly.
Take it one day at a time. But no, but I find it interesting what people set out for themselves within a year from now or 5-10 years from now. And then it's cool to look back. Like, if you decide to go back and listen to this in 5 years and see what you said. And then this last question is, what is your life mantra? Do you know what a mantra is?
Yeah.
Something that you live by or what you go by.
Yeah.
So do you have one?
So when I was young, not when I was young, when I was younger, my dad kind of preached this idea to me that the way to progress both professionally and personally is to never say no when something comes your way. So a lot of the opportunities that I've been given has been me like reaching out to people, but also like, so a good example is like I have this thing that's kind of in the concept phase where I'm writing for like a sports column, and I'm a big basketball dude. Like, I'm like all about sports, like college basketball, NBA. And the guy was like, listen, I know you're big into basketball, but we got something in the works for college football. And I was like, I mean, I know football, like I watch the NFL. I don't know much about college football, but like, yes, like I'll do that. and I'll learn about college football. Or I had like a research opportunity in sports psychology, and this one was like, look, I'm looking for someone that can like do A, B, and C for me. Can you do that? And I was like, I mean, I didn't say this, but honestly, like, no, like right now I can't.
Right.
But what I'm gonna do, I'll figure it out. I'm just gonna say, yes, I'll do that for you, and I'll go figure out how to do that and come back to you.
Okay.
So my biggest thing is like for me is that any opportunity that comes my way, I jump on it, and like I do whatever I can to do the best possible job that I can. So I guess if I had to put it into words, it'd just be like never say no.
No, never put down any opportunity that comes your way.
Right. Even if it seems like something you can't do, like you just got to figure it out.
Right.
That's why for me, I've always just been the kind of person where I'm like, yes, I can do that. Let me go figure out how to do that, and then I'll do it for you. Instead of just saying like, no, I can't.
Wow. I like that. I love that actually. And that was from your dad, you said?
My dad is the one because my dad he works for the PGA Tour. And we were talking about like how like he got to where he is now. And he was talking about how he worked for like a news broadcast in Miami. And MTV came to him and was like, hey, we need someone to like make a website. And my dad was like, I got no idea how to make a website, but I'm going to do that for you.
Yeah. Wow.
And he went out and hired like a coder, hired like a designer, and ran a project of like him and like 3 other people, made a website. And then just like someone would come to him and be like, hey, can you do this? And he'd be like, yeah, I can do that. And then would figure out how to do it.
Right.
And he's like made a career of doing that.
Wow. Made a career of never saying no.
So that's what I'm doing now. And so far, I mean, it's worked out for me. So.
That's amazing. That is actually really dope, Daniel. I've never really put it that way, or I'm the same way, but I just never put like how to word it, or like, because I never turn down any opportunity that comes down my lane.
Right.
But anything, I'm kind of burned out of all questions. We've been going for full steam ahead for almost 2 hours.
Oh my God. You got some editing ahead of you.
I know. Yeah. Some stack editing. Anything that you want to mention to me, or anything that you have for me, or anything, last words that you want to say to people listening to this point? The floor is yours.
If the only last things I gotta say is, if you like basketball content, anything basketball, NBA related, hit my TikTok, Goykd, GOYKD. And coming up, I got a little something in the works where I'm gonna be writing about sports football or college football at mvnm.com.
mvnn.com.
MVNM. Like
NM. Okay.
Yeah, mvnm.com. It's in the concept phase now, but hopefully soon enough we're gonna have it up. If you look at the website, it's all about like recruiting high school players to college teams. So soon enough you're gonna be seeing my name on there. I'm gonna be writing about college football. So check out the TikTok, Goykd.
Hell yeah.
And I'm up next in the sports.
So if people want to reach out to you besides following and adding you on TikTok, where can have any socials where people want to reach out and talk to you furthermore about things that we've mentioned or talked about on this episode?
Yeah, so if you want to reach out to me, there's my email, which is dgoykorea@gmail.com. I got an Instagram, which is, I'm planning on changing my username to Goykd, which is the same. But right now it's D_Goykorea. So check either of those and I should come up. I got a Twitter too. My name, Daniel Goykorea.
Oh my God. Guys, go follow his Twitter.
Yeah, my Twitter right now it's not used.
No. Coming from me, go follow his Twitter. It is some classic humor. The tweets he be having at 1 a.m. or midday in the afternoon. I get a notification about like some random
fancy basketball trade.
Yeah. Yo, is this like a real report from like a source. I was like, oh no, this is from Daniel. Okay. So yeah, if you guys want to furthermore in getting to know Daniel, go follow him on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. He will be gladly to meet some of you guys or answer any questions that you guys have for him. But this is the conclusion of episode, I want to say 11. I think we're on episode 11 now. So this is episode 11 with Daniel Goy Korea. And so thank you, Daniel, for taking the time and talking with me today and spitting some facts about NBA and sports and a little bit about you.
If you ever want someone to spit some NBA knowledge, bro, I'm glad to come back.
I got you right on the call. I get in an argument, I know you'll be right there.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So once again, thank you. And thank you guys for listening up to this point. You guys are some real ones. It's going to be a good hour of just listening to this point. So thank you guys. And we'll catch you guys in the next one.